Hi, and welcome to the Long Range Shooting and Custom Rifle Building podcast presented by Wolf Precision Incorporated, where we learn about and share long range shooting and custom rifle building. I am your host, Jamie Dotson, and welcome to the show. Hi, and welcome to episode 41 of Wolf Precision's Long Range Shooting and Custom Rifle Building podcast. My name is Jamie Dotson. I'm your host, and welcome to the show. In this episode, we are going to talk a little bit about the up-and-coming coronavirus, I guess. It's a topic that everyone seems to have on their mind, rightly so. We are going to do some question and answers, and we are going to give an update on how we're going to run the podcast here for about the next 4 to 8 weeks, as well as some video content that we're going to be posting and try to help put some material out there to help pass some time, something fun, something interesting, sort of do our part to maybe throw something a little bit more lighter weight out there that we can watch and listen to and enjoy while we have some quiet time. We're also going to do a Q&A. We had some questions sent in by customers and listeners asking us to touch base a little bit more. So I thought it'd be an interesting conversation to have. Maybe just do something lighthearted on this podcast, a little bit of Q&A on some question and answers. So without further ado, here we go. All right, so welcome to episode 41 of Wolf Precision's Long Range Shooting and Custom Rifle Building podcast. To start things off, I do want to give a quick shout out to everybody listening. I hope all is well. Hope everyone is safe. A big thank you, and our hearts go out to all the first responders, medical staff, doctors and nurses, all those on the front lines, fighting the good fight, trying to keep us safe here and trying to help those who do get sick. We are here in Pennsylvania. Of course, they've shut all the schools and restaurants down, and they're asking people to sort of lay low for a while. So we have some downtime on our hands here. We are very fortunate so far that no one that we know has gotten sick, that we know personally, or at least that we know of. And we're very grateful for that. I hope all of you out there are safe. I hope your family members are safe. Our best wishes and prayers to everybody that sort of weather through this over the next, hopefully couple weeks and figure out how we're going to get this under control so it doesn't become a really big deal. But that said, we want to keep the podcast sort of light. We want to go over some fun stuff that we're going to try to do here and do some Q&A. So I just wanted to give a quick thank you out there to all you first responders, police officers, nurses, paramedics, ambulance drivers. All those people that are out there on the front lines fighting these things. Our hats go off to you with the biggest respect in the world and a very nodded head of gratitude. So thank you. The couple subjects I want to talk about here that we're going to do before we get into a little Q&A and some fun stuff to talk about long-range shooting. Of course, maybe keep our minds off of all the chaos and craziness that if you watch the news is inundated with. But we are going to do some video work. We have a private range that we can drive to in which I can set up some video camera work, and we're going to do some video work on a couple different subjects. We're going to do some video work, first of all, on safety and functioning of both handguns and AR-15s. We have been absolutely inundated with phone calls of people asking for private lessons, people who have purchased firearms, and so on and so forth. We don't really teach that as far as open classes. Some of our instructors do. So I'm going to ask some of our instructors if they would post up some 5 and 10 minute videos that they could share with us that we could put up on our YouTube channel. So for all of you listening, if you would like to check out some of the basic instructions and stuff that we're just going to, for fun, put up there just to help those out that are asking. And we're also going to do and start some long-range tutorials. Now, this is no charge to the customers. We are not asking for any Patreon. If you sign up and pay this, you can log on and you're the only persons that can see it. What we're going to do over the next couple weeks is really dive into our long-range shooting school content, the things that you'll see and experience here at the shooting school. And we're going to do some video work with it to try to throw something out there. Maybe you can have some fun watching, sitting back, relaxing, something of interest. So we're going to share with you a lot of the things that we teach at the shooting school in a video form or format at the range. So I'm going to try to sneak some cameras out to the range a couple times a week, and maybe we can post up a couple, 10, 15-minute videos here and there to help pass the time and give you something fun to watch. So that's sort of a goal that we're going to work on here over the next week or two. as well as try to do some fun podcast, maybe try to bring some interviews on. So if there's anyone you would like us to reach out to interview, please let us know. On to the Q&A part of the podcast here. The first thing that we would like to touch base on is we get a lot of questions asking about the scopes and what we select and why we select them, the pros and cons, and maybe even the differences. The number one question we get asked is, who don't we use and why? So we did some podcasts in the past where we say, there's a lot of stuff being sold to us that doesn't work real well. And for the amount of money that they're asking, really just taking advantage of the consumers in the marketplace. So I don't want to throw any names out there, and I have stuck to my guns in saying that I won't. But I will say that there are 2 brands that we use mostly here, 3 if you count Swarovski, and not saying that they're the only ones out there. There's lots of great scope manufacturers. I would have absolutely zero issues with taking something along the lines of a Schmidt & Bender, for example. Swarovski. The only reason we don't sell a lot of Swarovski products here is because they don't sell a first focal plane scope. Although I do think their product is absolutely really squared away. I have no problem with it. They do make the X5, which has the adjustable clicks in minutes and mils, but again, it's not first focal plane, so it takes away a lot of the usefulness as a tool, as a rifle, as soon as you remove the first focal plane optics. So we're down to Collis and the Leopold line, and especially the Mark V line. Now, they do make the Mark VI, the Mark VIII. There's other scopes that they make that are absolutely fantastic. They make some great pistol and AR optics as well. I am a huge fan of Leopold. I think they've really done a great job with the Mark V. I think the Mark V really is a fantastic scope, especially when you consider the price point of getting into a really nice first focal plane scope for sub $2,000. That is fantastic, both in their 3-18 and their 5-25 line. If you throw in the illuminated, you can get a little bit more than that, but the 2 scopes that we use here the most is the Leopold Mark V 5-25. That is a fantastic dual-purpose scope, long-range scope, precision scope. Could use it for a hunting scope. It's lighter. With the extra magnification, I would have no problem with that. My favorite hunting scope from Leopold is the 3.6 to 18, and that one illuminated with the TMR reticle is my favorite because they put a little target dot in it for precision work. So if you want the best of both worlds, the Leopold 3-18 Mark V is a fantastic scope. It really is hard to beat, especially when you get into that price point. We have had clients shoot 18-inch plates in a mile with that scope. So aim small, miss small applies. You can shoot a mile with an 18-powered scope, no problem at all. So using one in a hunting scenario at 300 to 600 yards is not really an issue. When you move up from there and you get into the Collis line, the Collis 6-24 is a bread and butter scope. That is tried and true, proven, fantastic tracking, nice glass, just pretty much top of the line rifle scope. The Skimmer and Skimmer 3 are my favorite 2 reticles for in that. They do make a military version of it as well. We've had that here in the past, but Skimmer 3 is what we bring in for all the school rifles. And then they make their 3-18 and their 5-25 version. The 3-18 was developed really to go after the competitive shooters because they thought they would like the lower magnification for faster manipulation between targets. And they are right. So in a lot of the sniper matches in years past, you didn't keep your scope on 25 power for very much. You're transitioning between multiple targets, usually at different distances. You still want to be able to see and use your reticle for hold over and hold off, making any adjustments for the wind. So first focal plane became a big issue. But 3-18 is spot on. You can shoot really far, especially if you get like with the Skimmer 3 reticles and the Collis reticles and the illuminated reticle and the Leopold. They put a tiny little 1/8 minute target dot. You can sit there and shoot 1/4 inch dots or M&M sized targets at 100 yards all day long with this scope because of the target dot. And the same thing goes with the Leopold version. So the 3-18, that was developed for the competition military based type shooting. The 5-25 was built at the customer's request because they thought that was the golden standard of 5-25. And I've talked about one of the reasons why I'm not a big fan of like 5-25 magnification because you're making the reticle 5 times smaller from the top end to the bottom end, which can become an issue with using the reticle like we use in first focal plane for hold over and hold off. But I get it. It is more universal. You can dial it way down and get a big field of view, or you can dial it way up and get a really precise aim on something. So the 5-25, has caught on more than the 3-18 for the tactical shooting. Guys will actually run it at the 18 to 22 power, opening up their field of view, still being able to use the reticle, but still having that clarity. So one of the things with the 5 to 25 I'm told is different is that the clarity is a little bit clearer. The glass is a little bit better. Because Swarovski had purchased Collis, this was a joint thing between Collis and Swarovski. And so, yes, the clarity is really, really good on the 5 to 25. I have one here personally. I also have a 3 to 18 on my personal hunting rifle as well. The other scopes and optics, like I said, I won't throw out any names. You have to do the research on your own. But for me, if you're just setting it and forgetting it, so if you're zeroing your rifle at 100 yards and that's all you're doing, it's not that big of a deal. But we dial up and down constantly. We're talking those turrets are being run up and down just hundreds and hundreds of times. And so if there's any weak point or any lack of 100% reliability, then you have some issues with returning to zero. You have some issues with trying to dial the correct dope. In other words, when you dial 10 mils, you're not actually dialing 10 mils, so on and so forth. So your click charts are constantly causing issues. One of the reasons, we talk a lot about that, but then we even go into like the curvature of the bore and the issues it causes with dope at long range. We've talked about that in other podcasts in the past, but there's a lot of things that get involved in long range shooting and a lot of things that actually have to work right in order for you to hit the target. And you already have enough things to have to get right. You've got to get your distance, you've got to get your wind, your barometric pressure, your humidity, all these other factors. And then all of a sudden you miss it because the scope's not repeating or tracking or dialing the correct distance that you think it is. Imagine building houses across the country and everybody having a ruler where 1 inch actually isn't exactly 1 inch. How many houses would be built looking awful funny with different angles? And you imagine all the people on the job site having these different rulers that, where 8 feet really isn't 8 feet. It's just a little short or a little over. And, the manufacturer of that tape measure said, well, close is close enough. They won't notice a difference anyway. Imagine the train wreck it would make of the fit and finish of a house, and think about the fit and finish of your long range dope. The other thing I want to talk about here is the long range shooting school coming up. Of course, the virus has got everybody here in Pennsylvania. We went on lockdown. And so any non-essential businesses, they're asking them to remain closed here for about a week or two till they get a handle on these things. And, we say a little prayer and hope that, best case scenario happens and that we're able to weather out the storm and hopefully get life back to normal the way it could be and should be. But that said, we do know that we've had several students email and ask about any precautionary measures that we're taking here at the school. And so we did a couple different things. Number one is any students that the first thing that they're asking is, hey, we're using school rifles or community rifles. And, that was asked. And we've always cleaned our rifles really well. And this is something that I've always done. I mean, we're out shooting these rifles in July and people are sweating and, it's sort of pretty gross. So I clean the rifles in every class. But not only that, it's something that we've always done. It's something we'll continue to do. But we did want to open up and tell people, hey, if you want to bring your own rifle through the shooting school, you're more than welcome to. We're not going to mandate suppressors this year because we actually not only would like you to bring your own rifle, but we would encourage it just for that reason. And so we don't have lots of people handling the rifles. We don't want any issues with that. Now, the school rifles are still here, and we're going to issue one clean. If you would like to attend the class and you need to use or you're registered for using a school rifle, that's not a problem. But we do want to let that out there that if you have a rifle and you want to bring it to the school, you're more than welcome to, and we're actually encouraging it. We are telling guys it doesn't have to be suppressed this year. We are going to send guys with muzzle brakes to the other end of the firing line, so we usually group them together to punish each other, and rather than putting them in between two students that are suppressed. And so we try to make the firing line make sense. So if you do have a muzzle brake on your rifle, you can bring it to the school this year. We're not going to disqualify you bringing it because of a muzzle brake or simply because you can't own a suppressor or your rifle might not be threaded for one. The other thing that we said that we'll do, and we talked to Seven Springs where we hold the school at, is they have a lot of precautionary measures in place. They're taking care and cleaning everything. They are really squared away. For those that don't know, the resort that we teach the class at is actually owned by the owner of the Pittsburgh Pirates. And so they take lots of care to attention to detail. Their guests are pretty important when we're there. A lot of times we'll have the Pirates there. We'll have members of the Penguins team there doing different things. So I think Sean Spicer was there giving a speech last year. So it's that level of resort. But if it becomes a bigger issue or something that we say, hey, we're going to teach it in open air, we may, if it comes to that, bring the shooting school and make it all taught at the firing line rather than being in the conference room, in the classroom, inside the resort. So if it gets to that point, we'll teach in the morning and do range time in the afternoon, but we'll do the whole school from the firing line. For those staying at the resort is still open. You can stay there if you like. They're taking really, really great care. The big thing is with the resort, it's a big resort. And in the summertime, they are not busy. So there's lots of distance and air to be enjoyed, I'm sure. And then what we did to even go one step further than that, and you can read this on our website if you go on our website or if you signed up for our newsletter. You can also go to our Facebook page, and we have a list of things that we did to accommodate and help make sure that we're making the school as safe as possible. Our Facebook page is Wolf Precision Inc. So if you go over to our Facebook page, you will see our latest newsletter. You can click on it, and it'll give you all the information about everything that we're doing here at the school and trying to make sure that everybody can come through as safe as possible. But yeah, if you want some information on what we're doing with the shooting school, just pop over to our Facebook page. It's Wolf Precision Inc. and click on the latest newsletter. And we also encourage you to sign up for our newsletter under information on our website. You'll see our newsletter link and just type your email in there and it'll come in. Just type your email in there and you'll get our newsletter updates when we send them out, usually about once a week or once every 10 days. The other thing that we did do is we offer several other classes through the summer. So we opened up probably about 4 or 5 more classes that we have limited to 4 students, and that'll be for the rest of the year starting from July on. So anyone who signed up for the May or June classes and they would like to come through a much smaller class, they can forward to any of our later classes where this classes will be limited to 4 students and 1 instructor. Our firing line is 60 feet long, so we have lots of room and open air for the students to attend. It is also a private property event, so it will be just myself, maybe 1 guest instructor if needed, and just 4 students then through the course of the 3 days. So we're going to try to accommodate that this year as well. The next week's podcast, we are going to dive in a little bit more on some Q&A. We have a couple more questions that I thought were really interesting that we had some phone calls for and some emails for. That's actually going to take a little bit of time to talk about, but if you would like, keep an eye out on our YouTube page. It's Wolf Precision Inc. If you sign up or hit the notification or subscribe, like I said, we've got some time to kill here, and what we're going to try to do here over the next couple weeks is take about 10 to 15 minute tutorials and basically go through our long-range shooting school piece by piece, bit by bit, and try to post up a couple videos a week. This will be just for, some great entertainment, as well as, if you're like the rest of us, we have a lot of people in Pennsylvania sort of stuck at home right now. We have our 2-week, everybody's got to stay in type deal. So we're going to head out to our private range and maybe do some filming, and we'll post up some stuff. Hopefully you'll find it interesting, maybe some entertainment. It's sort of what we're trying to do it, just to have some fun and post some stuff out there that maybe guys can watch and enjoy while they've got a little bit of downtime. Well, our hopes and prayers are for everybody out there. We really do hope everybody is well. We hope for the best with this situation, that in the next week or 2, things will slowly come back to some type of normalcy and we'll get a better grip on where this is going. Anybody has any questions, feel free to give us a call or shoot us an email on anything that we do here. We are still building rifles, and we still have several that are for sale on our website. So we have rifles readily available, and we're getting ready to build 4 or 5 more, a couple with the A6, and we introduced what we consider our urban sniper rifle. That is a version of our lightweight hunting rifle. We've built several of these for law enforcement over the years, and these are designed for law enforcement. So if any law enforcement agencies out there are looking for or working with trying to work on getting some precision bolt guns on their teams, we have a couple new rifle designs that we would like to offer out there to sort of showcase what we're working on here. So if you have any questions, give us a call. Again, thank you for joining us. Hope everybody's well and safe. My name is Jamie Dotson of Wolf Precision Incorporated, and you are listening to the Long Range Shooting and Custom Rifle Building Podcast.